How's it going? All right, so what we're going to talk about today is how to write articles and get them out, get content out really fast. You might be somebody who doesn't have a lot of money or just starting out in SEO or starting out in content writing or social media, and you're trying to find ways to produce content a lot quicker. If you're like me, I'm not very good at typing. I've been practicing for the longest time, and I'm just not really getting that better. 30 words a minute is about the best I can do, and I find it very frustrating and stressful to produce content when you can only produce it that fast. I can think a whole lot faster than I can type. So I put out a video about a year ago on how to do voice to text typing, and the strategy I was using back then, I was using two different strategies. One was you can set up your Mac computer to actually record voice to text, and it has its own database. But I find it really, really poor quality. It makes a lot of mistakes on words. Where you have natural pauses in sentences, it sees them as a break, and it puts a capital on it, and it crams words together and doesn't put spaces in between them. A bit frustrating because you spend too much time editing later on, and it's a bit tedious. It's almost better to just type it. So Google Docs is a little bit better. You can open up a Google Doc, and there's a way in there to. I won't go through all this because I found a better way, and I'm getting into that with a Google Doc to actually do voice to text. And so neither of those I found really compatible, but there is one alternative, and that's this right here. This is a Samsung 7 cell phone, and I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to hit the little plus there and enter a title in here. Doesn't have to really matter what the title is. And then I'm going to do a little tutorial here on putting in a proper foundation for your house, something I know something about here. As if I don't know anything about SEO. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to hold this up the screen so you can watch. Hopefully I can get a good shot of it. Okay, so when you're putting in a foundation for a house, there's some things you're going to have to consider, period. Soil composition is the first thing, period. The problem is that if you don't know your soil composition and you start digging down, many surprises will await you, period. For example, a friend of mine at his location decided to go against the better advice of an inspector and go below the 4-foot level and ended up contacting a lot of very soft soil. When inspected, the inspector said that he would have to put in a footing that was many, many fold larger than a standard footing, period. The footing he ended up having to put in was 5 feet wide by 20 inches deep, which is far in excess of a standard footing, period. So as you can see, I'm going to go further in this. What you can do now is you can take that and share it. Just take your share feature on your phone. It brings up all the share icons and send it to Gmail. So I go over here to Gmail and come back here. You pick out Gmail I want to send it to and send. So it's going to come to this Gmail right here. I'll reload the page. Should be here in a second. I find it comes in very fast. So there it is, and as you can see, okay, so when you're putting in a footing and a foundation, there are some things you're going to have to consider, period. Soil composition is the first thing, period. The problem is that, as you can see, right, it's working fine. So now you just copy that out of there, and you have a pretty decent little article that you can throw into a blog and anything, right? So today, for example, I was building out some new city pages for my SEO site. And so what I did was, like, for another thing you might want to consider is if you don't, like, I'm talking about something here that I can talk right off the top of my head and just telling a story, so I can be very fluid. If you're not necessarily that fluid in what you're talking about, what I recommend and what I did was I just went to other people's websites and looked at the content that they wrote and basically just rewrote it in my own words, which you can say is cheating, you can say it's thieving, stealing. Listen, everything is plagiarism. We're all using the same words. So as long as you're writing it in your own manner, and of course I check it in Copyscape. And like, if, for example, if I look up, I want to do a Calgary SEO page, I don't go to Calgary and steal somebody's Calgary content. I go to Los Angeles or New York or something and use somebody else's content. And again, I use the word steal. It's not a proper word. You're kind of just rewriting it. It's just prompting you to say the same general thing. And you know what? If you go to 100 different SEO websites, they generally all say the same thing within, varying contrasts. So it's just a great way to be able to just rewrite something. So all you have to do is read each sentence, hit the microphone, record. If the microphone happens to shut off for a minute and restart, then just restart it and start over again. And you can put, like, literally cut and paste all these articles, even if you do them in little sections this big and keep sending yourself emails, and you have to keep making new documents. Not a big deal. Just keep doing it, and you'll easily get 1,000 words done in 10 minutes. Believe me, it's very, very easy. So anyway, there's a tip to save you some time in your article writing. Hope it helps. Thanks. Have a good day.